All right, guys, it is time for the new best units in All-Star Tower Defense versus Infinite Mode. So we are bringing the new banger 7 stars and complementing them with supports and other OP units. And we're going to see if we can set my personal record in Infinite Mode. Wow, that's really low. So we're going to go for wave 170 plus. With a little luck, we might hit 180. All right, here we go. We got Frost and Keon. Some leaderboard goats. Let us cook. You guys don't know, they're bringing back the OG lobby and stuff soon, so I'm very excited for that. Like and subscribe for more OG ASTD content. We're in Infinite Mode. Man, this is feels like the good old days. Here we go. All right, so for the early waves, our strategy is pretty simple. We have Speedwagon and Octo for double money because Shenron, Gilgamesh, and Ainz are kind of expensive. Also, one cool quirk about this guy, Gogeta, I'll turn on his VFX, is he can cost $0 with the cost orb, which is pretty cool. So right now, I'm farming as much money as possible. Unfortunately, again, due to the strategy, you do need actually 2 farms, depending on your slots. So hopefully, maybe we'll get a better farm unit. I'm still waiting for the first ever 7-star farm, because so far, every unit in the game costs like a bajillion dollars. It's actually kind of mad. As far as orbs go on my team, they don't make the biggest of difference, but it's nice to use your universal like the cost reduction orb on one of the more expensive guys and ultra magic on one of your more DPS based units. But honestly, I think Ainz is really the DPS goat here. But DPS doesn't matter a whole lot. What really matters is the percentage based damage, like that Gilgamesh has. And Shenron does have a little bit of percentage based damage, but Gilgamesh's is like a 75% nuke, I think, which is absolutely busted. And I do believe some of these have like insta kills as well, but it's like below 7%, which is kind of hard to get to, but it's a lot easier to get to when you're already cutting off 75% with Gilgamesh. So they kind of have some really nice synergy, which I can't wait to highlight a little bit later in the video. All right, right now we're setting up the Monica placements. If you guys don't know, you kind of have to bring Monica, because if you don't bring her, then you don't get the benefit of Hamura, which is a little unfortunate. We're about to max out our farms. We should be in the money. I don't think we ended up going with the money boost. We have this loadout specifically built with all the slots, etc. So we're a little bit out of luck there, but now we just got to max out this guy because, dude, the Octo is still the GOAT. I'm not sure he's obtainable, actually. I hope he still is. I'm not sure. He might still show up in the 6-star banner. I hope he does because he's meta. Unless you want some like good RNG strat with the fisherman. So there we go, max farms, wave 19, a little slow, but that's okay. I just need to make sure to not hit this cash out button or I cook the run. All right, right now we're getting everything set up. We got the Hamuras for time stop. They changed Hamura recently, so she a little bit easier with the abilities, etc. And then we have Law for teleporting the enemies back, which is pretty cool. And we have Diavolo for his ability, and we have a lot of other great stuff. So I'm pretty excited for that. And now we need to start getting our units placed down. So I'll talk about my placements and also talk a little bit more about what we're bringing. So we're bringing in the best units. So we're trying to bring like one of each of the best. All right. And we're also still trying to bring units that'll get us a good run. So if you guys don't know, these guys were from like one of the last updates. They're pretty busted. He has really good synergy with the other version of him, which I don't think we have right down, like T-Boy, the other unit from this update. I don't think we have him down quite yet, but he is pretty good as well. And Hamura for time stops, etc. And looks like we have Gogeta now in the back. Interesting. So I'm gonna get my placements. So let me talk with the team and I'll be back. All right, here we go. All right, we got some money going on. I got my auto buff going. Hopefully it's worked. Apparently they did fix the auto activate bugs, so that's pretty good. So we got our Leafas over here. We have some weird strat going on with this guy. I don't know what it is about, but that's what they told me to do. Anyways. All right, here we go. Let's get all of our boys maxed out. So I like Gilgamesh. His main use is his ability. He does have a little bit of damage, but you can kind of see he's honestly not really hitting that much of the map. So he's not really even used for his DPS. He's only used for his nuke. Now there is an ability button here now that like tells you what the abilities do, but obviously it doesn't work on all the units. They're adding those in over time, so maybe the next update they'll have that. But for this guy, he does have it. So Ainz is also pretty dope as well. I like him a lot. for his pretty insane ability right here, where he resurrects the summons with 15% of their maximum HP. This is only for units killed by the Overlord, which is a little bit annoying, but not the end of the world. So looks like we should be able to start getting those guys spawned in pretty quickly, and I'm hoping he gets some kills. So I want to see some summons come up along the map, and I'm kind of, oh, maybe those are the summons. Maybe we have 2 Eins? I don't really think we do. So maybe it's just enemies killed in general, because none of those were killed by him. Very interesting. And I don't think there's a DPS counter in this game, so that's very interesting. But I'm gonna be honest, this guy is pretty OP. Now I'm gonna have to turn off my graphics, because obviously there's a lot going on, but the graphics are good. So let's go wait a few waves, and we're gonna max out the Overlord. And ooh, I don't like the 15 SPA though. Yeah, that's kind of nasty, but I do like the range. I wonder if he'll be fully AoE. I'm not sure yet. We'll see. Shenron, what makes him special is he's kind of a jack of all trades. He slows the enemies, stacks with slows. Now I believe this stacks with whack slow. Not quite 100% sure. We'll be testing that out. And he does do a nuke type effect, but it only gets their HP to 66%, which is not as good. However, it does buff a lot of unit types, so that we'll also be taking advantage of that a little bit. And it also makes, he always does super effective damage against enemies with an enchant. So this guy is basically insane against enemies with an enchant, but if you guys don't know, there's no enchanted enemies in infinite mode. And then we have this right here. If we lose within 7 seconds of use to activate, it pushes the enemies back. We'll be taking advantage of this. This kind of replaces Luffy's ability a lot. You might notice we did not bring Luffy. Unfortunately, F in the chat for Luffy gear 4, which is kind of crazy. Now, one of the things I want them to do is I do want them to start buffing some of the older 7 stars to bring them back up to the meta. Kind of give them a new life. I think that can be kind of cool to highlight the 7 stars. Maybe give them a passive that's cool or something, or kind of highlight them a little bit in an update. So maybe every update you can like kind of bring back one from the dead, you know, kind of spruce it up a little bit. Heck, even give it an orb? Question mark? Anyway, let's get this guy all the way upgraded as much as we can. There we go. And let's get Eins upgraded as well. Oh my gosh, you can see how pricey these new units are. So I'm gonna be honest, there's a non-zero chance we get a Balma 6-star or a Balma 7-star. So if we do that, I'll be super happy, and we'll be cooking. So there we go. Right now we need, wow, this guy has 2 upgrades left, and this guy has a lot of, oh my goodness, dude, Eins cost a freaking arm and a leg for real. That is absolutely mad. But we do have these guys speed running it, which is pretty sweet. Now my teammates, they bring Modica, Law, a lot of support units. Honestly, not a lot of DPSs. I would say the funny thing about these units is a lot of them are percentage-based damage. And whenever you have percentage-based damage, it basically scales infinitely with the waves. So this guy's doing 75%, and yeah, so it is pretty crazy. So I'm really curious to see how far we can get. Again, the goal is 170 plus and 180 if we have perfect execution. So let's keep cooking. It appears that Eins' ability doesn't scale as well with this many players. I would say it might make more sense to bring multiple Eins. I do want to do an Eins army video, so look forward to that. But with this many players, Eins is definitely not cooking as hard. So stay tuned for a future video like that. Right now, we just got to farm to oblivion because, geez, 11 million and that many upgrades. What the heck? All right, it's wave 109. We're getting the time stop set up. We usually do this on 1x. And then sometimes you can turn on auto if you're willing to risk it. It really depends. So what usually happens is you set up your buffs, you set up your time stops, etc. on 1x, and then you can turn on the 3x after you already auto activated everything. Now for this run, we are using wax slow. I'm open to other options for future runs, but at the moment, I believe that is the current meta with this amount of players. There is a chance that Blackbeard plus Shenron plus Gale Slow or something like that could be better, but I'm not really 100% sure on that. And also these runs take about a little over an hour, especially if you're going this crazy high. So I'm pretty excited to see how this unfolds. Dang, we actually do have Luffy, guys. I didn't know that. That's crazy. We bring Luffy instead of T-Boy. I'm sorry, T-Boy. So apparently we're using Luffy only for his nuke. That is all we're using him for, which is crazy. All right, so apparently for this one, it comes back in 21 minutes. So it does come back. It just takes forever. So we popped out on 117 and we're working on the time stops, etc. We're cooking. All right, we got some crazy wave 130 action going on. So we just sent them all the way back to the start at 130, which is pretty crazy. We have the buff turned off though for some reason. Not entirely sure what's going on there. All right, then we're gonna use Gogeta and then Luffy at the same time. Here we go. But his buff is still there when he needs it. Okay. I'm not quite sure what's going on, but I'm not sure what's going on, but we should be okay. So I buffed him again in case it's needed. Should be good. They seem to all be basically dead. So we're trying to kill them all in wave 130. I'm not sure what's next though. But so far we're kind of cooking. So our goal here is we should be able to full clear this wave pretty easily. You guys can kind of see how much HP they have. Also, you can take a look at what kind of damage we're doing. There's me with 32 billion, the most. Yeah, once they get to 7% HP, you can insta-kill them with Ainz. So if you stack Guild plus Luffy plus Ainz, you can pretty much kill anything in the game. We're also trying to stall these because this is going to allow us to get a lot of our abilities back in time for when we need them. There we go. So I just executed 37 and it's just this guy at the end. So there we go. Not bad, not bad. Should have waited a little bit longer though, I think, for these two, but it is what it is. All right, guys. So from now on, we're auto skipping to the end. So let's cook. All right, here we go, guys. Wave 131. Let's see how much farther we can go and how much damage we can get. It's gonna be crazy. All right, checking on wave 142. Still doing great. We're just, slowing units down, intervaling random places, and just trying to, make this last as long as possible. We're hoping to get another 36 to 37 waves, but we'll see. Here, right now we're just cycling between time stops, laws, etc. And we're doing pretty good. Wave 146, and you guys can kind of see we have a whole lot of map left. We might even still have Diavolo left, so we got a lot of stuff, a lot of potential here. All right, here we go, guys. Wave 151. Somehow I'm still the top damage. I think I'm the only one with damage in units. And the funny thing is we're at a point where damage doesn't even matter. And we also just hit the skip limit, which is tough. So yeah, we're at the wave 151 jam, and I'll show you guys how we get out of it. All right, there we go. So this is when we use Monika's ability with Hamura. There we go. We still have to watch this cutscene. I don't know why they haven't turned this off. So we were waiting for this moment. Here we go. And yeah, this is the fun part where you get stuck on a cutscene. So hopefully he can see. I don't know though. We'll see. All right, there we go. We're back. And thankfully it's time stopped for a while, the cutscene. So now he has to set up his little interval thing going on. And there we go. Wave 153. All right, this is where we fire off Gogeta. All right, we round everybody to the beginning again, and we use Shenron for the extra slow. So we're doing pretty freaking good. All right, so now we're gonna auto skip till the skip limit, which should be at like the late 170s, maybe 180 if we're lucky. We'll see how it goes. But we need to get these guys down all the way to get auto killed, which I'm not entirely sure is possible. But actually, this green bar is actually lowering, so that actually might happen. There's a non-zero chance. Now the nice thing about Shenron is he's gonna basically be a mini nuke. He's gonna take all their HP down to 66%. Now I don't think that's gonna really affect us that much. Right now we're mainly just trying to max out our slow capabilities, etc., to really make a difference. And here we go, guys, without a nuke. That's good. All right, here we go, guys. We are in the end game. Wave 169. There we go. 170. That's insanely good. I'm excited. So now we're just continuing the strategy. Time stopping. We should be hitting a skip limit soon, unfortunately. But other than that, we should be good to go. Let's keep cooking. All right, so we have everything on auto ability now. We're just, you know, cruising to the end. Damage wise, it looks like we're about to hit oh, there we go. 151 billion is kind of insane. We'll see. Actually, that's 152 trillion right now. That's crazy. Don't think that's a record, but I think it actually would be a record if we hit a nuke like right about now with the skip limit. So we're on wave 174. I think the skip limit's supposed to be at 175. There we go, 175. And I believe this is the skip limit. Here we go. We laud everybody all the way back. I don't know what these guys are doing. They must have already been laud before. Unfortunate. There we go. 176. All right. Still no skip limit yet, which is good. I'll take it. 162 billion damage. All right. There we go. That's it, guys. GG's. Wave 176. Not bad at all. So let's get I'm gonna hit the no button. There we go. And there we go, guys. Wave 176. Let's get everybody here for the photo. Little photo op. And that is that's a GG's right there. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. 162 billion damage. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace. I'll see you guys soon for the update. Peace.